guys! Welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new legal advice content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, Illegal Transfer of House Ownership, Real Estate Law, Indiana. So, my mother has a house. Been in our family for almost 100 years now. Never had a mortgage. Never had home equity anything. Ever. Mom up to date on property taxes. No tax sale, nothing. I went out to the lake house to get some of my stuff. While maintaining it year-round grass, weeds, etc. It is his summer lake house. And we use it for storage, etc. When I entered the house, it looked like someone had broke in. So, I asked a neighbor. She said, the bank took it. And so here we are. I called and filed a police report of all stolen items that I'm assuming the people the bank hired took, and the police officer is to call my mom tomorrow after he figures out what he can. He informed my mom there is a law where if you care for a property for more than 30 days you can lay claim to the property. However, my mom had hired a guy to take care of the property and the bank's vendors turned him away. My neighbor says they entered with a key and I can still get in with mine. I am the sole person with a key. My mom doesn't even have one. How is all that possible? The officer told us to be sure we aren't charged with trespassing to not come back. However, he let me get all my stuff. My mom got no notice, no legal transfer, no nothing. How is any of this legal? Can someone explain? Or what do we need to do? Edit another question. My mom talked of changing the locks on them and was wondering how good/bad idea that would be. Edit 2. They also have a padlock on the back door, but didn't change the front door lock, which I don't get. Edit 3. To clarify, there is a sign-in sheet in the home that vendors are supposed to sign when they work on the home, with the name of the bank in the header. There is also a sticker on the front window with a number to a security company that is employed to secure homes for banks. The bank has winterized it and has already started replacing the roof and has done the gutters. Sorry. For those of you wondering if it is just neighborhood gossip. Edit 4. While I appreciate all of you, those of you saying to move back in the house is livable, but there are repairs that need done and the house is 4 to 5 minutes from town. If I didn't have kids, I'd be out there in a heartbeat. But my boyfriend and I were living out there up until February 2019 and had to move out because we were far from town. The electric bill was through the roof. 4 kids makes it hard because the house is not insulated to be a winter home, and it just reverted back to a summer home to swim fish storage. Also asked mom to run a credit check. She says she already has credit monitoring set up and gets daily notifications. Nothing weird has been reported to her credit. No equities or the like. Update for now. SGT coming to take my mom's statement today. We are waiting. They spoke on the phone for a good hour. He pulled up her deed while on the phone and said he sees no cases for a lien or foreclosure. He is stumped, but working. He is going to call the security company. Again, cannot reach the bank or Addie until Tuesday. Update. My mother got a hold of the bank today, who said they had no record of the address in their system. However, they did have a completely different lake house in their system. They said they had no financial interest in the house at all. They directed her to their real estate company in our county. He said he hasn't had a house at the lake in many years. She then contacted the property preservation company that secured the house. The CSR got very frantic asking for the burglary report case number, and again, told her someone would call her. She also stated our address was not in their system. She hired a locksmith at the direction of her attorney, and we went out there and placed warnings and changed locks. The locksmith informed us they actually didn't have a key. As previously stated, I was the only one with a key, and they credit carded the door and replaced the lock in the back and just said duck it when it came to the front door. Neighbors took pictures of our license plates, but didn't call the police, so I'm in fear something bigger is going on. But now it's just up to the DA to find someone to press charges against in civil court for emotional damage and loss of truly invaluable things that they stole while renovating. Final update. Detectives solved the case. Property Preservation Company is claiming full responsibility. They had the wrong house. None of the houses they own out there had lot numbers on them in their system, so they just assumed and went with it. Yes, my mom is in contact with her Addie before she settles. There is so much more that goes into this than just $30K worth of missing things. She asked if the DA is going to take the case. He said they could, but he advised her to contact her Addie Monday before making that decision. The Lake Association had their monthly meeting, at which time the president informed everyone that the no trespassing signs weren't real. So my take on the neighbors is they are just a-holes. But the detective called and talked to her, so I'm sure they are aware now. Next one is titled, Pennsylvania. Landlord suing for $6,500 in repairs, hearing Tuesday. What can I expect to happen when I show up in court? Original post, we are 3 grad students, and the hearing is on Tuesday, Feb 4. My other 2 roommates will not be present at the hearing, and I will be there unrepresented. After we moved out, the landlord made $9,000 in repairs to the house, subtracted our $2,500 security deposit, and is now suing us for the remaining $6,500. I'm just curious about what the procedure is going to be when I show up unrepresented on Tuesday. Here are some facts. Other 2 roommates had dogs that did cause some damage. PA has joint and several liability, so I don't expect to be able to pass any burden without suing them. I spent 3 days cleaning the whole house before moving out, but she is charging us nearly $1,000 for a maid service who came in and re-cleaned, charging $3,500 for repainting the entire house. 2 doors were damaged and needed to be replaced, but she had all 14 doors in the house replaced and is charging several thousand for that. I also purchased 2 doors and left them there before moving out, but had not installed them. There was water damage due to a leaky faucet that I informed the landlord of, but she never fixed it, and is now charging us for the water damage repair. Charged $2,200 for replacing the carpet throughout the entire house. I sent her a check for $800 as a settlement offer, which was rejected. What is going to happen when I show up on Tuesday? What should I do? Update. Thanks all for the advice. The hearing is 1 p.m. tomorrow. I will update again after. I called the court, and there will not be a mediator, just both parties testifying before the judge. I have gone through the itemized list of repairs and prepared a short response to each of them, which I plan to present during my testimony tomorrow. This thread has given me hope, and I appreciate your insight on helping me prepare for the hearing. For those asking, the dogs were allowed by the LL. My 2 roommates each paid an additional $250 security deposit for having animals in the house. This $500 of the $2,500 security deposit that my LL has withheld. Update. So LL brought a lawyer and I represented myself. The judge allowed my LL to testify, and I got to cross-examine. I asked some questions that scored major points like, LL, do you know when the last time the carpet was replaced? It was never replaced and was as 10 years old. Then I testified and responded to all of the 16 entries on LL itemized list of repairs. I stated how these were all improvements rather than repairs, and I should not be liable for improvements to the house. The plaintiff's cross-examination was pretty light, and I knew how to answer questions as to not dig myself into a hole. Once the cross-examination was over with, the judge went through the itemized list line by line and made a determination as to what was reasonable. All in all, the plaintiff amended the complaint to $11,500 and was seeking $9,000 after the security deposit. I managed to respond well enough to the complaint that the judge handed down damages of $2,000 plus lawyer's fees. This really set me off because $750 of the damages were from a cleaning maid who came in and cleaned after we moved out. I had spent 3 full days cleaning the house top to bottom, and the LL even had the carpets redone and walls repainted. Unreasonable in my opinion. The rest of the damages were caused by my roommate's dogs. I never had an animal. Joint and several liability and PA keeps me on the hook for that, but my one roommate has acknowledged the dog damage, and we are in the process of working out who will pay what of the final judgment. I put that in quotes, because no official judgment was handed down. If in 30 days we have not worked out a reasonable payment plan with plaintiff LL, then she may file the judgment, at which point it will become official and appear on our credit reports, etc. Thus, I'll be happy with the progress I made and make sure we get a payment plan set up stat. Could have gone better, could have gone much worse. I appreciate the feedback I got here. It gave me a lot of good ideas for cross-examination and defending against the claim. Next one is titled, Ontario, I caught my neighbor's son stealing my underwear and other things. Family refuses to believe me or my landlord and is threatening to sue me for slander. What can I do? I am in Ontario, Canada. Moved into the apartment at the start of January. Since then I have been convinced that someone is stealing my underwear, bra, etc. Every floor has a pair of washer and dryer units, and since moving in I have had almost a dozen different things just disappear from the washer dryer. The room is so tiny that there is nowhere to sit, aside from sitting on top of one of the machines, so it makes it very hard to wait for it. 2 weeks ago, I went and bought a bunch of new things, and when I went to go remove stuff from the washer, I noticed that several things I had just bought went missing. Armed with this and the fact it was early Saturday morning, I went to our landlord, and she was able to tell me during the 35 minutes of washing the only person who entered was my next-door neighbor's son. Now at this point I was furious and confronted the parents. The parents called me a liar and basically told me off. They absolutely refused to believe me. However, since confronting them, I have had nothing go missing since then. Today I put laundry on and started cleaning my unit. When I went to go drop trash off, I checked the laundry and discovered our neighbor's son going the dryer I was using. I again confronted the parents, and they immediately started screaming at me for harassing their son and threatened to call the police on me for harassing their son and threatened to sue me for slandering their son by implying he is a pervert. My question is, does this count as theft, and can I go to the police and file a complaint? I don't want my clothing back at this point. Update. Thank you to everyone pointing out I was an idiot and I should have called the police to make a report. A long story short, I went to station, made a report, gave them all the details I had along with showing them a copy of the security camera footage of both incidents that my landlord was kind enough to send to me. The police officer didn't seem to really care for my impression, but he made a report. No one to my knowledge ever came out or anything. Anyways, today the father and son came to my door today and he basically apologized for accusing me of lying and made his son apologize to me, awkward, and gave me a bag consisting of my clothing. I told him I didn't particularly want to that stuff again and was going to throw it out. Just the idea of keeping it made me disgusted. So the father kindly gave me the cash value for a rough estimate of the items and then some, then told me if stuff goes missing to come to him first. I'm satisfied, I guess. The entire situation seems extremely uncomfortable and awkward. Last one is titled, Little brother, 16, ran away from home because of abusive parents, is staying at my place and doesn't want to go back. Parents now threatening me with an arrest for kidnapping. Friday at about 10 p.m., my 28 male little brother, 16 male, and a friend of his, 19 male, knocked on my door. I live in Illinois. He lives with our parents in North Carolina. I wasn't expecting him at all. He told me that he ran away from home. His friend drove him all the way. My little brother has a very difficult relationship with our parents. This has been going on for years. Our parents are deeply religious and conservative, and they're becoming increasingly radical in their beliefs and downright hateful, and they're very strict and controlling with him. According to my brother, it has become unbearable at home lately because someone at his school reported him to our parents for touching hands with another boy. They lost it. They're convinced he's gay. He says he himself doesn't know, and they want to send him to some Christian boot camp or something. According to him, they're downright psychologically abusive and submit him to constant criticism and harassment. I believe this from personal experience. My little brother absolutely refuses to go to the Christian camp. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm afraid it could be some sort of conversion therapy. It's not illegal in NC as far as I know. He ran away before they could send him. He's terrified of going there. My parents don't know where he is, but they put 2 and 2 together and called me on Sunday. I said I didn't know where he was. They told me that if he shows up, I'd better call them because if I hide him, they will call the police on us, report me for kidnapping of a minor, and get me arrested. My brother said he wants to stay with me because he wouldn't be safe going back. I honestly believe this to be the case. I want to help my little brother, but I don't really know what to do about the whole situation. I'm willing to let him live with me, even if there are issues, one of them being that he's still in high school. I'd like to know what his rights and mine are. 1. Can our parents send him to this camp against his will? 2. Can he stay with me if he wants to? He's adamant that he doesn't want to go back. I'm afraid he would be in a very difficult situation if he did, and I'm not sure he'd be safe. 3. Could I be accused of kidnapping? I'm not preventing him from going back to our parents. He just doesn't want to. All I'm doing is letting him stay with me. 4. Is there a way I could get temporary guardianship of my brother if so he wishes? More generally, if anyone has advice about how we should navigate the situation, I'll be grateful. Update. The situation with my brother seems to be getting clearer. Good news is he's still staying with me and likely will for some time. I can't go into too much detail. But here's what happened. We called a family lawyer who was recommended by people I know. We then called DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, with the lawyer to explain the situation. DCFS interviewed my little brother about his home life. They'd also interviewed me to check that he was safe with me and seemed to conclude that he is, even though they didn't tell me very clearly. They didn't want to tell me whether they would recommend he stay with me or go back home, however. We were also advised to call law enforcement, which we did. I also called our parents to let them know. My parents showed up at my place the next day and demanded to talk to my brother without me present. I let them in, but I stayed there the whole time. My brother didn't budge and said he would stay with me no matter what and wouldn't go to the camp. Things got very tensed, and there was a lot of yelling and ranting and nasty things were said to my brother. That's when I said they were no longer welcome at my place, and I would call the police if they didn't go away, and they left. They came back that night to tell us that my brother can stay, but he and I are disowned. They won't do anything for any of us now. They won't take him back, and we're both dead to them. Then they drove back home. In a way, convincing them to let my brother stay with me, at least temporarily, was easier than I had anticipated. The price to pay with our family is high, but there was never going to be an easy solution. I was afraid of a big fight, and they would call the police and accuse me of kidnapping, but thankfully that didn't happen. Good thing is my brother isn't going back to our parents, and our lawyer thinks that there's a good chance DCFS will allow him to stay with me. Complicated thing is that I hadn't planned to be taking care of a teenager anytime soon, so this is all new to me and frankly a bit overwhelming. We're going to work with our lawyer to establish guardianship if that can be done. My bro and I are relieved that he, likely, can stay here and he's safe, but there are tons of issues we still have to deal with, like transferring schools and above all helping him adapt to a new life in a new environment. A lot of work ahead of us for sure. Thanks for listening.